Without numerology, how would I have known? Across from me, during the recording of our program, A Glimpse at Life Through Numerology some years ago, was a lady of 35. She was born on the 24th of June, 1986. You may wonder why, but there is a reason I need to mention her birthday so clearly. For these seemingly ordinary numbers are perhaps central to the narrative yet to be told. She was one of the offline participants of our program, Life Management with Numerology in Halong Bay. Someone who, for all 3 days and 2 nights on the cruise ship, was so shy and reserved that we barely had much of an impression. Yet, just several weeks later, as we reviewed the stories of the participants, the story she had shared took us all by surprise. She said for her family, she had always been abnormal. For years, she struggled with the feelings of suffocation, constant mood swings, and countless questions about the ups and downs of her life. As a single mother, she was determined to finally make a change. And despite her family's skepticism, she quietly enrolled in numerous self-coaching courses. She joined various self-help programs, from thought pattern reframing to dream interpretation. Whatever programs that might help overcome the abnormality of her life that would allow her to bloom and flourish, she had already attended. Despite the initial energy boost from each of those courses, she would soon find herself regressing to her old patterns of depression and suffocation. Where she was at her lowest point, battling depression, health problems, relationship issues, and financial struggles, this program, Life Management with Numerology, emerged as a beacon of hope. She was determined to enroll in the basic level of the course, and there she was finally able to let go. In our recording, she revealed that although she was indeed born in a loving family, hers was a typical Vietnamese family during the war, which means love was rarely spoken. Even rarer were the warm hugs and kisses of comfort. As realistic, practical people, her parents and siblings were also not too sympathetic with her seemingly dreamy and idealistic nature. They were unable to see value in her emotional expressions, her desire to help others, or the confessions in the pages of her diary. At the age of 7 or 8, overwhelmed with unspoken feelings, she began pouring her heart into her diary, confiding her joys, sorrows, dreams, and aspirations. And when she was 12, her older sister stumbled upon her diary, and the familial teasing that followed unfortunately shattered her confidence, leading her to abandon the habit. Ever since, she started to see the cracks and fissures in her personality. Moodiness and irritability crept in as her pent-up emotions festered like a growing tumor in her heart, fueling constant negativity. Her mood was volatile, and she was quick to anger, often overreacting to unexpected changes. This negativity led to more losses and gains. She craved a life beyond the family business, one dedicated to help others and making a meaningful impact on the world. But this aspiration is constantly ridiculed by her family. Her older sister told her to mind her own business and not get involved with others. Her family pressured her to abandon schooling after reaching adulthood. They hoped she would pursue a career in business, perhaps opening a restaurant or a retail shop. In her family and immediate community, it was unusual for someone past their 20s or 30s to continue with any type of schooling beyond college or university. Denied further education, her dreams were consumed by a thirst of knowledge. She often imagined herself in a classroom, teemed with excitement and burning desire to learn, whatever the subject is. Seeking to fulfill her ambition, she moved further away from her family. In one of the dream interpretation courses, experts were baffled by her dreams, speculating that they may indicate an underlying psychological disorder. Despite her efforts, she still could not find answers to her own identity. She questioned her abnormality and the constant struggle against societal norms, like a fish swimming against the current. With her family's lack of sympathy and the experts' conclusions, she began losing faith in herself, gradually coming to believe she might truly have a psychological disorder. After a series of difficulties in her marriage, thinking things could not get any worse, she decided to secretly file for divorce with her husband. It took her 3 years to muster the courage to tell her parents the truth. Her parents lamented their daughter's fate, while also stricken with anger for both their decisions and hers. Listening to her stories, I finally understood why it wasn't until this life management with numerology course that she seemed to gradually awaken. Only from a numerological perspective could she have seen herself as a perfectly ordinary person. Born on June the 24th, 1986, she is guided by the ruling number 9, a number associated not with finance and business, but idealism, altruism, and a strong desire to serve humanity. She finally understood what she has felt, a deep calling to make a positive impact on the world throughout her life. She finally understood why for those 2 years she persisted and ultimately succeeded in opening her 2000 Vietnam Dong restaurant for the poor and the elderly. Those 2 years was the time she truly felt joy and fulfillment. With time, she realized that she is deeply connected with the number 6, the number of creativity and compassion. Her birth date adds up to 6. She was born in the 6th month of the year. Her birth year yields another 6, which is 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 6 into the 24 and plus into 6. And then her birth name bestows upon her one more, making a total of 4 number 6 half concealed in the seemingly innocent numbers of her birthday and her name. In the peak years of her life, only revealed in the pyramid of 4 peak years, the 3rd peak year is also a 6. She realized that her deeply emotional nature, her empathy and desire to serve others come from this creative and loving energy of the number 6 combined with the idealistic nature of her ruling number 9. Unfortunately, her family didn't see the beauty in her unique spirit. Faced with her teasing and opposition, no matter how well-intentioned it may have been, she ended up retreating into herself, her heart and soul now hurt and wounded. The number 6, naturally associated with creativity and love, was trapped and unable to unfurl or blossom, eventually twisted into its opposite, destruction. And she realized that the reason she lost more than she gained, misfortune following her every wake, is because of this destructive nature, the darker side of the loving and the creative number 6. following our advice that individuals with an excess of number 6 should pursue creative forms of entertainment to balance the surplus of energy, she enrolled in an embroidery meditation workshop with our MAQ team. To her and her family's astonishment, her diligent embroidery practice and her newfound faith in her own normality resulted in a remarkable transformation. She returned to life, imbued with love, confidence, and the sense of normalcy. To counter the moody nature of the number 6, she diligently practices exercises that help gather and maintain her energy level. She joyfully shares her newfound knowledge with other traders at the market where her rice stall stands. Day after day, now she has become a completely new person, the serene smile adorning her lips, her eyes brimming with the joy of life. The happiness of one who has discovered their true self-worth following years of enduring struggle and desolation is truly invaluable. Initially, reading her confessions after the course, I was concerned that her transformation might not be lasting. I feared it might have been just another temporary surge of energy, as was the case with her past recharges. I was pleasantly surprised, though, to find her still brimming with enthusiasm when we met again in the Level 2 course, even taking on the role of guiding another friend who needed a little extra support. And then came the day she visited us on our recording. Taking in her peaceful energy and having the privilege to hear the untold stories of her life, I came to develop this incredible faith in her. It's only a problem when we fail to understand ourselves, to see the nooks and crannies of our being. But once we see ourselves for who we truly are, the only thing left to do is to put in the effort, strive ahead, and practice and practice and practice, nurture and nurture and nurture. After everything, there was still one final detail that gave me goosebumps as I listened to the stories of her struggles and her pains. Aside from the third peak which I mentioned earlier, the remaining 3 peaks from the age of 27 to 54 are all number 3. These 3 peaks symbolize her most crucial life mission, to learn and learn and learn. Learn anything that might interest her. It doesn't have to be the new knowledge. It could be learning to better understand yourself and others, or learning to strengthen yourself to further cultivate your growth for the journey ahead. This perfectly explains her desire to learn, suppressed and restrained for so many years. It's also an inspiration and motivation for her to officially pursue her learning from now on. What greater joy could there be for such a person? And as she fully crafts herself, her spirits lifted, everything around her seemed to gradually brighten just as much. Her family no longer saw her as abnormal, instead finding harmony and joy together. And then the Lunar New Year we call Tet came around, and for the first time, she was able to give her father a warm hug. During the holidays, if she didn't have any commitments, she would stay home and embroider little flowers for herself and her son, hoping their lives would bloom just as brightly as those flowers. And next to her, her father gently swayed in the hammock, sharing the myths and legends of Christianity, her family's faith. He said this was the first Tet he had felt so joyful. Here, the initial question of this postcard resurfaces. Without numerology, how would he have explained the seemingly abnormal events that shaped her past? Without numerology, how would she have faced the future with such unwavering confidence and purpose, guided by a clear path and steadfast determination? You see, what made my heart bloom with warmth more than anything wasn't our conversation itself, but the unexpected meeting with her 8-year-old son in the last few minutes of the recording. His eyes shone brightly, brimming with affection as he looked at me. Every time he saw me, he would hug me tightly and told me stories of how diligently he had practiced Ho'oponopono meditation with his mother, as well as the daily gratitude meditation sessions, where he would take time appreciating each part of his body, his ears, his eyes, his nose. He pulled up one leg out of his trousers and showed me his vascular birthmark, which should have required surgery, now almost deflated after a few days of Ho'oponopono practice. His eyes, which were red with pain and irritation, now pain-free after hours of applying warmth and whispering words of love and appreciation. I asked, "How are you finding your life now?" And he told me, "It's much better than before, miss." And with that one word, before, I could see how this little boy had endured his mother's dark and suffocating days with her. Now I understood the affection in his eyes as he looked at me. He must have thought his mother's positive transformation was the result of her participation in the life management with Numerology together with me and our team. Despite his tender age, he already had a good understanding of numerology and applied it to his own birth date, discovering some of his strengths and weaknesses. Even more impressively, he hoped to join in a life management with numerology course as an official member instead of just tagging along with his mother as it was. What a moment, I had thought. Truly, this incredible story of our mother and son duo has inspired us to continue sharing the benefits, the results, and impact of numerology on our lives. Inspired us to continue sharing that numerology isn't about self-deception, nor it is vague or unnecessary to make a tangible, positive difference in our lives. For without numerology, how would I have known? Best wishes of peace and love to everyone. October 2024, Lê Đỗ Quỳnh Hương and Make You Team.